When the prison gates finally opened, Marcus Hale stepped into the sunlight, carrying everything he owned in a single plastic bag. For 3 years, he had imagined this moment the first breath of freedom, the sound of cars passing, the idea that life was about to restart. Waiting on the outside, at least in his mind, was his wife, Denise. She had stood by him through his arrest, the trial, and the sentence. She answered his calls, sent money when she could, and told him repeatedly that she believed in second chances. What Marcus didn't tell anyone was that his version of freedom had already taken shape in his head, and it didn't include forgiveness. Within hours of his release, Marcus used the little money he had left to buy a one-way plane ticket to Texas. There was no return flight, no luggage, no plans for a future beyond what he believed needed to be settled. Airline records later confirmed that he booked the ticket from a public computer, paying in cash. To the clerk, he looked like any other man eager to go home. To Denise, it would be the last mistake she ever made. Marcus and Denise met years earlier, long before prison walls and courtrooms defined their lives. Friend described Denise as patient, quiet, and deeply loyal. Marcus, on the other hand, carried a temper that surfaced whenever he felt challenged. Their marriage was turbulent, filled with arguments followed by long periods of uneasy calm. When Marcus was arrested on violent charges unrelated to Denise, many people advised her to walk away. She didn't. Instead, she sold personal belongings to help with legal fees and kept his name on the lease of their small apartment in Texas. To her, standing by him was proof of love. But during Marcus's time behind bars, something shifted. Phone calls became tense. Marcus accused Denise of infidelity without evidence. He obsessed over imagined betrayals, replaying scenarios in his mind. Other inmates later told investigators that Marcus often spoke about confronting his wife once he was free. Still, Denise believed his anger was prison talk, empty frustration that would fade once he was home. She was wrong. The flight from Marcus's release date to Texas was less than 3 hours. Passengers later recalled him sitting quietly, staring straight ahead. He didn't eat. He didn't sleep. According to investigators, he spent most of the flight gripping the armrest, jaw clenched, replaying years of resentment. When the plane landed, Marcus didn't call Denise. He took a rideshare directly to their apartment complex. It was late evening when he arrived. Neighbors saw him standing outside the building for several minutes, as if steadying himself. Denise had no idea he was already there. She had spent the day preparing for his arrival, assuming he would call first. She cleaned the apartment, cooked dinner, and told a friend she was nervous but hopeful. Maybe this will be a fresh start, she said. Instead, it was an ending. According to police reports, Marcus entered the apartment without forcing the door. Denise let him in. What happened next unfolded quickly and violently. Investigators believe an argument began almost immediately. Neighbors reported hearing raised voices, followed by a loud crash. Denise screamed once. Then everything went quiet. When officers later reconstructed the scene, they found signs of a struggle throughout the living room. The furniture was overturned. Broken glass littered the floor. Denise was found fatally wounded, her injuries indicating intense rage rather than a momentary loss of control. Marcus fled the scene on foot. Denise's body was discovered the next morning after a coworker, concerned that she hadn't shown up for work or answered her phone, called for a welfare check. Officers arrived expecting a routine visit. Instead, they walked into a crime scene that left even seasoned detectives shaken. There were no signs of robbery, no forced entry. Everything pointed to someone Denise trusted. Within minutes, investigators focused on Marcus. Security footage from the apartment complex showed him arriving the night before and never leaving in a vehicle. Airline records confirmed the one-way flight. Prison release documents placed him at the center of the timeline. The man who had promised to come home and rebuild had vanished. For 2 days, Marcus remained on the run. Authorities issued an alert, warning the public that he was considered dangerous. Tips poured in from multiple states. He was eventually spotted at a bus terminal, wearing the same clothes from the flight. When officers approached, Marcus did not resist. He reportedly asked only one question: "Is she dead?" When told yes, he said nothing more. During interrogation, Marcus claimed the killing was not planned. He said the argument got out of control. But detectives weren't convinced. Phone records showed he had searched for Denise's work schedule days before his release. Fellow inmates testified that Marcus had spoken openly about confronting her and making her tell the truth. The one-way ticket became a central focus of the prosecution's case. They argued it proved intent, not necessarily to flee, but to confront without consequences. Marcus, they said, never planned to return to prison or to normal life. He planned only for the moment. Denise, tragically, never stood a chance. News of the killing sent shockwaves through Denise's community. Friends struggled to reconcile the gentle woman they knew with the brutal way she died. Many expressed guilt, wishing they had pushed her harder to leave. She believed love could change him, one friend said tearfully. She believed waiting meant something. At her memorial, her family spoke about her kindness, her loyalty, and her fatal mistake, trusting a man who had already shown signs of violence. Marcus was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge called the crime a deliberate act of vengeance carried out under the guise of reunion. In the end, Marcus returned to prison, but not before destroying the one person who believed he could be redeemed. Denise's story became a warning echoed by advocates and investigators alike. Release from prison does not guarantee rehabilitation, and loyalty cannot cure unchecked rage. This case is not just about a man who booked a one-way flight or a woman who waited faithfully. It is about the danger of ignoring patterns, the cost of misplaced hope, and the brutal truth that some reunions are never meant to happen. Marcus walked out of prison believing he was owed answers. Denise opened her door believing in a future. Only one of them walked away alive, and not for long.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.